The central vision of ancient Persian mythology was of a universal conflict between good and evil, order and chaos. To some extent, this exact theme is the foundation of nearly every ancient world religion, but for the Persians, it amounted to the meaning of existence itself. There were two opposing forces at work in the universe, and whichever side one chose to align with, would define one's earthly journey and afterlife destination. On the good side, there was a pantheon of gods and spirits led by the supreme deity Ahara Mazda, the creator of all things, seen and unseen, and on the bad side, there was Ahara, also known as Ariman, the spirit of evil, chaos, and confusion, with his legion of demons, assorted supernatural and natural creatures, and untamed beasts. Ahara Mazda had given humans free will to choose which path they would take, and if they chose correctly, they would live well and find paradise in the afterlife, whereas if they chose incorrectly, they would live a life of confusion and strife, and be cast into the torment of hell after death. Join me as we explore and learn about some of Persia's most well-known gods and mythical creatures in this new chapter, Persian mythology. The most important god in ancient Persian mythology was Ahara Mazda, whose name means wise lord. When Zoroastrianism became popular in Persia around 600 BCE, Ahara Mazda became its supreme deity or god. The Persians revered him as the creator of the earth, the heavens, and humanity, as well as the source of all goodness and happiness on the planet. Ahara Mazda created 6 divine beings, or angels, to assist him in spreading goodness and ruling the universe. Zoroastrianism, a now extinct branch of Zoroastrianism, viewed Ahara Mazda and the evil spirit Ariman, also known as Ahara, as two opposite, but equal twin spirits of good and evil, battling for control of the world. Because Ahara Mazda is the supreme god of the Zoroastrians, he is frequently compared to the main gods of other religions. For example, the ancient Greeks thought Ahara Mazda was simply another name for Zeus. However, unlike the ancient Greeks and Romans, Zoroastrians believed in free will and did not believe that fate, or the interference of gods determined a person's destiny. Ahara Mazda was also associated with light and fire, both of which are symbols of truth and wisdom. For this reason, Zoroastrians would frequently pray with a flame or other source of light as the focal point of their prayers. The most commonly associated Zoroastrian symbol is an image of Ahara Mazda with eagle-like wings and tail. In Persian art and texts, he appears as a bearded man wearing a robe covered in stars, with the sun for an eye, as he dwells high in the heavens. Ahara, also known as Ariman, was the evil, destructive spirit in Zoroastrianism's dualistic doctrine. Druj, the lie, expresses Ahara's essential nature, which manifests itself as greed, wrath, and envy. Ahara created a horde of demons embodying envy and similar qualities to aid him in his attack on the light, which was spent Ahara Mazda's good creation. Although they were not considered siblings, Ahara and Ahara Mazda were thought to be locked in a cosmic battle for world hegemony, as well as each individual soul. Ahara was a true prince of darkness, the polar opposite of the light-filled Ahara Mazda, and his eternal adversary. Despite the chaos and suffering caused by his onslaught, believers believe Ahara will be defeated by Ahara Mazda at the end of time. His demons will devour each other in their own realm, and his own existence will be extinguished. The most extreme version of this good versus evil dichotomy was promulgated during the 3rd century CE by the Iranian religious reformer named Mani, founder of the Manichaean sect, which was a serious rival to nascent Christianity for some time. The Manichaeans, who emphasized free will, believed that one could choose to follow the evil Ariman, who might eventually defeat Ahara Mazda in their final, apocalyptic confrontation. In Persian beliefs, the Armeshespenta, or beneficent immortals, are any of the 6 supernatural beings or archangels, created by Ahara Mazda, the wise lord, to aid rule his creation. The 3 male and 3 female ministers of Ahara Mazda's power against the evil spirit, Ariman, are represented crowded around Ahara Mazda on golden thrones, surrounded by angels. They are the everlasting givers of good, and they are worshipped separately. They are also said to descend to assist on the paths to the light. Each has its own month, festival, and flower, and rules over a different aspect of the world order. Asha Vahishta and Vohu Mana are by far the most important of the 6. The lawful order of the cosmos, according to which all things happen, is represented by Asha Vahishta, the representation of excellent order or truth. He rules over fire, which the Zoroastrians revere as the fundamental nature of reality. He represents the path of justice and spiritual enlightenment to the believer. Vohumana, the embodiment of good mind, is the spirit of divine wisdom, illumination, and love. He guided Zoroaster's soul before the throne of heaven, and welcomes the spirits of the blessed to paradise. Believers are urged to bring down Vohumana in your lives on earth, by genuine love in marriage, and for one's fellow man, and rules over domestic animals. The strength of Ahara Mazda's kingdom is represented by Kshathra Vaya, who presides over metal and represents the desirable dominion. The believer can see this force in action when he or she is guided by the excellent order and good mind. Spenta Amati, the beneficent devotion, the devotional and faith-filled spirit, guides and protects the believer, and rules over the planet. Haovat, the symbol of wholeness or perfection, and Amarat, the symbol of immortality, are frequently mentioned as sisters. They rule over water and vegetation and may appear to the believer as a recompense for sharing the natures of the other Almesha Spentus. According to some traditions, the seventh Almesha Spenta was Spentamoinu, the Holy Spirit, who is an aspect of the wise Lord himself and produces life and goodness through the Holy Spirit. Spentamoinu, according to Zoroastrian religion, protects and preserves numerous domains and creatures, including the sky, water, earth, plants, and children yet to be born. A manticore is a Persian mythical creature who was said to be unconquerable. The beast was said to have a human head, a lion's body, and a scorpion's tail, and they were thought to be one of the mightiest of beasts, capable of devouring every animal in the jungle except elephants. There is no explanation given for why these creatures were unable to defeat elephants, only documentation that elephants seem to be able to evade even the most powerful of the manticores. Manticore is an adaptation of the Persian name for the beast, Martichorus. This is thought to be a loose translation of man-eater. According to Persian legend, the creature could devour any beast, except elephants, without leaving any trace. Despite its dominance in the jungle, the manticore had a particularly voracious appetite for human flesh. It was rumored that the manticore could easily kill 3 men at once, and could likely take more if the opportunity presented itself. The beast was said to have incredible speed, which not even the fastest man could match in a chase. A manticore's body was similar to that of a lion, which meant the beast had long, sharp claws that it could use to tear its victims apart if the opportunity arose. Last but not least is the mighty beast's terrifying tail, which was said to resemble that of a scorpion's, and has several stings that are poisonous to all creatures except elephants. When the manticore is close to its prey, it can use these stings to stab it. However, the use of this impressive feature is not limited by distance. If a manticore is too far away from its intended prey, it can shoot these stings at it in the same way that arrows are shot from a bow. Every sting fired from the creature's tail is quickly replaced by another, allowing the manticore to continue its onslaught until it is successful and has rendered its prey defenseless. Some versions of the manticore also describe the beast as having dragon-like wings that allow it to fly at terrifying speeds in pursuit of its prey. The manticore was known for devouring its prey whole and leaving nothing behind. It ate all of its victims' remains, as well as their clothing, money, and other possessions. Whenever a person went missing and no trace of their body or possessions was found, the loss was blamed on a manticore attack. Despite having a human head, the manticore cannot speak human languages. Instead, the creature is said to have the voice of a trumpet. This was regarded as one of the most significant indicators that the creature was on the prowl, as any melody in the forest was thought to be a sign of a manticore. The Huma Bird is a mythical bird in Persian folklore, as well as Sufi and Diwan poetry. According to legend, the bird never sleeps, and it spends its entire life in the clouds, never setting foot on earth. The bird is said to breed in the sky and lay eggs in the air, which fall to the ground at high speeds. However, the eggs would hatch in midair before reaching the ground, and the chicks would develop their eyes as they descend. When the chicks would get close to the ground, they'd become aware and let out a shrill cry, terrified of dying, and take flight upwards towards its mother. In Indian mythology, the Huma bird's feather-like features were associated with the kingship-bestowing function. In other words, the feathers on the heads of rulers were thought to be the plumage of this bird. The bird appears frequently in Turkish folk literature, as well as Ottoman poetry, where it is depicted as a symbol of great fortune in some works, and in others as a bird of paradise. The bird is thought to be a phoenix-like creature that burns itself every 100 years. Although it is commonly referred to as Huma or the Huma Bird, it is also referred to as Homa in Indian mythology. This is also connected to the meaning of the word Homa, which is a sacrificial fire. This is consistent with the Huma bird's proclivity to burn to ashes like the phoenix. Most people believe that hunting this bird is never attempted, because it is believed that the person who kills it will perish in 40 days. It is also believed that if the Huma bird's shadow falls on someone, he or she will be blessed with good fortune. Additionally, if the bird decides to sit on someone, it is considered a kingly appointment. Ariman created the desert spirit demons known as Daivas, to serve as direct opposites to the celestial angels known as the Holy Immortals or Amashaspentus. For example, the demon Druj, who represents falsehood, was created to be the polar opposite of Ashavahishta, the archangel of truth and righteousness. Several of the Daivas were once sacred Hindu deities, who were brought to Persia and transformed into evil spirits. In fact, the term Daiva or Daiva originated in India as a name that meant shining ones, and it was applied to both gods and demigods. The Daivas are not necessarily eternal, but they have been around for a long time, spreading disease and misery all over the world. They are also keen on leading mankind astray by encouraging people to worship them, rather than pray to a creator god. The Daivas are supposed to be kept at bay by living a clean and decent life, and enjoying the blessings of creation. Unfortunately, even the most upright people are vulnerable to Daiva possession for approximately 9 days after death. Evil people, on the other hand, can be possessed while still alive, and there are several purifying ceremonies and specific prayers that can be used to drive the vile Daivas away.